The 4-hour work week. It sounds amazing, right? It looks like a dream. Instead of working 40 hours every week, you simply need to work 4. And it's not like you are losing money because you earn more in a month than most people do in a year. So rather than working at your desk for 35, 40, or even 45 years before retiring, you have the freedom and flexibility to enjoy your life right now. It is not a fantasy. According to Tim Ferriss, there is a recipe that anyone, including you, can follow to achieve this. So if you're ready to get started, let's cut those 40 hours down to 4. In this video, you will learn how you can use 80-20 principle to your advantage, how to establish a passive stream and income, and where to look for your product. Socraters Inc. presents Summary of the 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. Key point number 1. For the new rich, wealth means luxury in the here and now. There is, however, a recipe for escaping the 9 to 5. There is a method, and that is exactly what we will be looking at in these videos. But before we get to the formula, let's discuss where you are going and how the author got there. The goal is to join the ranks of the new rich. The new rich are a subculture that values mobility and financial independence. Nothing holds them back. They choose where they will go. They make decisions, and they have recognized that the time has come to live your dreams, to truly live your lives. But how do you go about doing this? How are you living your dreams and living your life to the fullest right now? Here is another thing that new rich have realized. To accomplish this, you only need 2 things: more freedom and more free time. So that's the goal. Get more freedom, more free time, and become a member of the new rich. It appears to be magic, but it is not. Remember, all you need to enjoy its luxurious existence are 2 things: greater freedom and more free time. They are the requirements for being able to do anything you want, whenever you want, and from wherever you want. Neither of which can be accomplished by working a typical 40 hours week. Key point number 2. Redefine riches and happiness. So the DEAL formula is the name of the formula. It's also symbolized for definition, elimination, automation, and liberation. Let us begin with the definition. Perhaps you have noticed, but we have already begun developing new definitions. We have already started to rethink about wealth. Remember that living in the billionaire lifestyle does not imply having millions in the bank. It's all about doing what millionaires do. In summary, being wealthy does not imply possessing a lot of money. It's about having the opportunity to do things that people with a lot of money do. Another term that needs to redefine is happiness. Most individuals will claim that their life's objective is to be happy. But what exactly does happiness entail? According to the author, the antithesis of happy is boredom, not grief. So enthusiasm is the finest definition of happiness. To be truly happy, you should devote your time to the activities that excite you. This meant touring, become a kickboxing champion, and achieving world record is the tango for the author. It could imply something very different to you, but the point is that owning a house, having an amazing world title, retiring with millions in the bank will not bring you happiness if you are not excited about what you are doing with your life. Key point number 3. Save time by following the 80-20 rule and avoiding time waster. The letter E stands for elimination. If you are anything like the author, 80% of your work production comes from only 20% of your effort. This is known as the 80-20 principle. And you might not have noticed it at work because it is concealed by the regular 8 hours workday. Because most employees must work for 8 hours, they prioritize activity over productivity. They arrange their inbox, fiddle with their phones, and go from cubicle to cubicle with self-importance. And in most firms, time spent at work is the only gauge for performance. So the individual who appears to be busiest typically gets the rise. However, over 80% of that activity is pointless. Spending a lot of time at work does not always imply that you are addressing the relevant tasks or executing them well. Quite the contrary, in fact, actually, the more time we have to complete a task, the more time we will devote to it, a phenomenon known as Parkinson's law. So if we only have an hour to complete our project's final report, we'll do it in that time. But if we have full afternoon, we'll take it all 4 hours of it. What you need to do is identify and prioritize 20% of the tasks that will provide 80% of the result. This includes removing all duties and activities that does not move you closer to your own goals. You should be especially wary of interruption which hinder you from completing crucial tasks from start to finish without delay. Time wasters are possibly the most expensive type of disruption. A time waster is any task that you may avoid without consequence. The most popular include web browsing, responding to unnecessary emails, and holding phone calls and meetings. All the time wasters can and should be removed, but for now, let's just concentrate on one of them, that is email. To begin winning yourself of email, read and respond to messages twice a day, once in the afternoon and once in the evening. If you can do that, why not take it a step further? Examine whether you can handle email only once a day or even once a week. Keep your friends, family, and coworkers updated as you go. Set up an auto-response indicating that you are restricting your time on email in order to better serve them and that it may be a while before you can respond. This will cause those around you will adjust and realize that the most communications may be left in your email inbox or voicemail while you focus on more essential matters. And people can always call you or take you aside for a face-to-face talk if a request is truly urgent. Key point number 4. Regular office workers can embrace the new rich lifestyle as well. So you have cut back on time-consuming hobbies, beginning with your email habits. However, as an employee, you cannot just switch to automation. Employees must first leave the office in order for the formula to become the slightly less memorable delay formula rather than deal formula. The answer is to leave office. Not only will this allow you to work less, but it will also allow you to work from wherever you desire. So how can you pull off this disappearance? How can you vanish from the office? Well, there are 5 steps you must take. They are as follows. Number 1. Increase your worth to the organization. Number 2. Demonstrate higher output when working remotely. 3. Calculate the business benefit. 4. Suggest a trial period. And 5. Increase the amount of time you work remotely. For example, let's meet Max, a man who wants to spend more time on his side job of selling sailor shirts on eBay. To learn exactly how this works in practice, he left the office in the following manner. He begins by establishing his dependence. He discusses with his supervisor acquiring further training that will enable him to provide greater client service for the business. His objective is to become more valuable to his employer. They are more likely to provide him freedoms like working from home, the more valuable he is to them. In the interim, he runs a quick test. On Tuesday and Wednesday, he calls in ill and promises to work from home. He selects these days in order to avoid appearing to be using them as a justification for a 3-day weekend and in order to test his productivity without the weekend's carrot. The promise of 2 days off hanging in front of him. He measures his productivity on these days using quantitative records and an email trail, and he doubles it on purpose because there are not any distractions from the office. After proving his productivity, then Max formulates a suggestion. The proposal explains why he is more productive away from the office and how his working from home will help his because no commute and fewer distractions. He now offers a 2-week revocable trial period during which he will work from home 1 day per week. The idea is accepted, and on these at-home days, Max wants to make sure that his outputs double compared to being at the office, giving him more evidence that his remote working is advantageous to the business. All he needs to do now is gradually extend his vacation time until he is working from home every day. And given the increased productivity his supervisor is noticing, this should be simple. Max will then be able to work virtually from anywhere in the world at that moment. Key point number 5. Create a business that runs on autopilot with no effort on your part. It's finally time to talk about automation, or the A in the deal formula. Automation is essential if you want to decouple the amount of time you spend working from the amount of money you produce. You, like today's new rich, can lead whatever type of life you want by developing automatic streams of income that can be maintained from anywhere in the world, because you will produce income without spending all of your time at work. Now, if you want to develop an automatic revenue stream, you must create a firm that functions without your involvement. That is, it must essentially run itself. Instead of managing your product distribution yourself, you might collaborate with a distribution firm and engage a website maintenance agency. And you should have very little contribution in this arrangement. All you should be doing is reading your service provider reports and intervening when necessary, but only when necessary. So, how can you ensure that works continues to function well while you are away? First and foremost, everyone concerned should be able to interact independently with one another. You should not be required to relay any message. Second, delegate as much authority as feasible to those you have entrusted with your tasks. People will be able to solve problems without your input or consent, saving you a lot of time and giving you a lot of more freedom. But who should be undertaking all of this work? Hiring virtual assistant is one of the possibilities. Virtual assistant can be hired from practically anywhere: Canada, India, Poland, you name it. It makes little difference where the person is as long as they have the necessary skills. Virtual assistants from India in the outer's view are far cheaper and frequently as good as, if not, better than their counterparts from English-speaking West. If you are still concerned about the cost, remember to consider the worth of the time you will save. Assume your current hourly wage is $25 and a suitable assistant costs $30. This means that the effective cost to you for each hour of work performed by assistants is $5. In other words, you could take off an entire Friday for only $40. Key point number 6. Test the market before making your product. Before developing your product, conduct market research. Okay, but how do you know if your offering will persuade the customers? So there are really just one way to find out. Ask people to buy it. This is the best challenge, if not the only test. You must present the imaginary product to genuine clients and observe their reactions. Key point number 7. Set a premium price point and offer a strong promise. To begin, you should be able to summarize the goal of the product in one sentence. Whenever you heard Happy Meal, you know it's McDonald's slogan. It is as simple as that. Second, you should make it simple as possible for buyers to determine whether or not to buy your goods. Make them choose from a limited number of possibilities, because comparing all of the possibilities is laborious. The more colors and styles your clients have to pick from, the less likely they are to acquire your goods. Third, in order to attract the ideal buyers, you should set your product pricing between $50 and $200. This will not only offer your goods a premium image, but it will also boost your profit margin and reduce the possibility of consumer complaints. The argument here is that anyone willing to spend that much money will be less likely to complain if the product fails to meet expectations. And finally, your product should make a big promise and keep it. Take, for example, Domino's Pizza, which claim to deliver in 30 minutes or less. If they don't, your pizza is on the house. A lot of promise and dependable delivery. Such big promise demonstrate to your customer how serious you are about your goods and provide them with the additional trust they require to make purchase. In conclusion, instead of slaving away in an office for the rest of your days, you could join the new REITs and begin enjoying your life today. Begin by redefining, then concentrate your attention on the 20% of tasks that have the most impact. Next, demonstrate that you are more productive working from home and overcome habits of continuously checking your inbox. Finally, identify and test products to automate your income. You'll be well on your way to the lifestyle you have always wanted once you have established these routines. Bonus tips: make a wish list. Make a list of everything you want to accomplish in the next 6 months, including all you want to do and be. Now compute how much you believe this will cost every month. Make a monthly budget for whatever you desire, whether it's sport vehicle or personal assistant, the capacity to speak fluent Greek, or the ability to prepare the ideal dinner. Based on this figure, compute a monthly target income. You now have a certain figure to strive for in order to live your ideal life. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell icon. And we will see you in the next time, Socraters.